Good morning, humans, and welcome to Ben Thinking con el profesor Ben Pardo Garcia. Today I'm going to make a different video. Normally I would be just practice, and then I'm going to be recording with one cut, no video editing, with the mistakes, with the distractions, maybe my line of thoughts or ideas is being broken, my dog may be interrupting also, and that's life. Life is imperfect, that's drawbacks, mistakes, interruptions. Okay, so that's the kind of videos that I want to do. But today I'm going to make a presentation that I actually did as a farewell, the graduation speech to some of the students that I had for 6 years, the mentor for 6 years. And I wanted to create the video so they have the memory for longer term, okay? So that's why today's going to be a bit different. See you on the other side. I want to start by making a confession. I am obsessed with TED Talks and motivational speeches. In the TED Talks, you will find maybe a brain surgeon who's going to tell you the principles to be happy, or maybe a neurobiologist who's going to tell you the basics to be healthy. In the motivational speeches, you will find someone like a TikToker who is going to tell you the secrets to be rich, or maybe a tough people, a Navy SEAL, who's going to explain to you the keys to be successful. But these 4 things, to be happy, to be healthy, to be wealthy, and to be successful, they are presented as goals, all right? And these specific goals are adjectives. I am a language teacher, so you need to keep one more grammar lesson, all right? These are adjectives. An adjective is basically a word we use to describe a thing, a person, a place, basically a label. We humans have hundreds of labels. One single label will never be able to describe us fully. Even the hundreds of labels will not be able to describe us fully. So it's clearly insufficient. As insufficient is these goals like, oh, to be happy, to be healthy, to be wealthy, and to be successful, all right? I'm going to change these 4 goals to different ones. I want to be fast. I want to be Swedish. I want to be married, or I want to be a father, okay? So then, like, fast, Swedish, married, and a father also is going to be kind of goals, but what are you going to do with it once you achieve it? And that's going to be the point, right? So you can try to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and successful, but when you reach that point, then what? And that's what many of these speeches, they actually fail to tell you, because they are suffering from the fairy tale syndrome, what I call the fairy tale syndrome, which is basically these fairy tales or these romantic comedies that the struggle is always before, for the couple, for the pairs, for the 2 people to meet. But once they meet, they live happily ever after. And that's false. That's not life. Life is a constant struggle, constant. So by stating these things, these speeches like to be happy, secrets to be healthy, the basics to be successful, once you reach that point, you become unsatisfied because you realize that it's meaningless. All right? So that's why I decided to write around 4,000 words to 400 people in 4 personal stories. And I'm going to call this speech the Unsecrets for Enjoying Living. And I call it Unsecrets because nothing that I'm going to tell you is new. Absolutely nothing. Also, enjoying and living, enjoy and live, they are 2 verbs. And what's a verb? A verb is an action, something you do, okay? But not only that, it's an action, it's enjoying, living in the pogo and the form, in the gerund, in the gerundio in Spanish. So that is happening, it is happening, okay? And secrets for enjoying living. Story number 1, my parents. We need to go back to 1957 when my parents first met. They were working in the same place. My father came from a village and my mother was a city girl. I need to give you some context from Spain in 1957. So there will be more or less 20 years of dictatorship after 3 years of civil war. And then still after 20 years, there was scarcity of food. It was this ration. The government was rationing how much food every person, every family could get. So then my mother was actually, she mentions often that she was often hungry. However, my father, because he was coming from the farm, from the village, he will have regularly relatives or acquaintances passing by to actually drop some food, because in the villages, they have some land, they're going to be able to grow some more things, to take care of some animals, and they will have access to more food, okay? So then my father, in 1957, when they met, knowing that my mother was coming from a poor city family, he was giving my mother his food. knowing that he won't go back at home at night and he will be fed properly. All right. And 2 years later, they're married. Now we need to move forward, skip forward 65 years, and then 65 years later, with 8 children, 17 grandchildren, and 4 great grandchildren, my parents are still, rocking, and then being very loving to each other. My mother, in last summer, in summer 2021, she got a stroke, which left her completely dependent. She was an almost independent woman in terms from that head stroke to a completely dependent woman. So basically, we had to put her into an elderly home. It was heartbreaking, but it was the best decision because she would be the best taken care of. My mother at the time, in summer, was actually 88 years old, and my father was 86. So 1 week, we put my mother in this elderly home, and then 1 week later, my father decided to take her out of this elderly home because he could not live without her. He didn't know how to manage her life, how to be active, how to be productive. He was just, like, in his words, like a zombie every day. So he loved her so much that he could not live, and he cannot live without her. He took her out and said, like, I'll take care of her, and then whatever it takes, I will be having her at home at our place. We tried to convince her out. We tried to convince him out of it, talk him out of it, because he's, again, a very old person, 86 years old, taking care of a very old person, 88 years old. But he said that he would do it, and he is doing it. Some months later, we need to help him also, because of course it's a big load. But again, they were together and they're loving to each other, and it's lovely. Second story, travels. When I was living in Bordeaux, in the southwest of France, I had a little motorbike, 50cc, a Piaggio Typhon. And then it gave me a lot of freedom. It gave me, like, the possibility to reach a wider area to explore, a wider area to reach and find experiences. So when the season was over and I wanted to go back to my hometown, Valladolid, in Spain, around 700 kilometers away, so then I tried to see several ways to actually deliver the motorbike back down there to Spain. But every single of the ways, either by train or renting a van, was more expensive, significantly more expensive than the price of the motorbike itself. So then I decided, like, no, you know what? I'm going to drive it. I'm going to drive it all the way down to Valladolid, all the way south to Valladolid. 700 kilometers, more or less. It's going to take, probably 16 hours, something like that. Meanwhile, I have to, stop in and put in some gasoline and things like that, making sure that. People were calling me crazy. People were saying, like, you're crazy. The motorbike is not going to make it. It's going to get burned. You're going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere. And I said, like, yeah, but if I leave it here in Bordeaux, then I will lose the motorbike. If I sell it, I will lose the motorbike. So then what I want is the motorbike. And if it dies on the way, well, at least I tried. And if it doesn't, well, I have a motorbike to continue having more experiences. So then on the early June, as it is today, like early June 2005, I start 6 in the morning. As soon as the sun was rising, I hit the road, and then I was driving. When I passed the border, around 8 hours in already, I could see that my eyes were itching, my eyes were irritated. I was having one of these half helmets only, and just a pair of regular sunglasses. So my eyes were actually being very affected by the wind, the constant wind, hours and hours in the wind. So obviously my eyes got very, like, pollen and dust and things like that were being irritated. I make a longer stop there, eat some food, blah, blah. And then I continue another 7 hours. I think I was driving for a total of 15 hours or something like that. And then when I was reaching Burgos, which is a city 100 kilometers away from my hometown, one of these big signs indicating the direction for the city, I could not recognize the letters. I could not read. The sun was already setting, so it was a bit darker, and I could not see the sign. So it's like, okay, this is becoming very dangerous. I need to stop here, and then I need to spend the night and to give some rest to my eyes. When I was there in Burgos, spending the night over there, I called a friend who I knew that had a van, and I told him, look, this is what I did. I tried to ride my motorbike from 50cc, 50 kilometers per hour, I've done it for 15 hours, and then finally I'm in Burgos, but I got stuck here with my eyes being a bit damaged. So is it okay if you come and pick me tomorrow morning to Burgos? And then he did the following morning. He came, picked me up in my motorbike, put it into the van, and drove to Valladolid. And there. So if you analyze the situation from the point of view that I wanted to ride all the way from Bordeaux to my hometown Valladolid, I failed. But that was not my goal. My goal was to have the motorbike in my hometown so I could have access to more experiences, to more life, to more freedom. And that I did accomplish. It's true, with help of friends, it's important to have friends, but I did accomplish that. All right, story number 3, dogs. So my dog, Loro, he's very friendly. I was, this last winter actually, I was working out in one of these outdoor gyms, and there was next to an area, a very big area, where dogs can be off leash. So then I was working out with my friends and then throwing him the ball and trying to have him both half with me, half away. But there was an owner coming with 2 dogs, and my dog went to greet them. He is very friendly, as I said. So he went away to greet these 2 dogs. So I ran after him to catch him. And this owner, who have never seen him before, I would not be able to recognize, and I have never seen afterwards either. He told me, no, look, no worries. You are working out there. You go, you continue working out. I'll take care of your dog with my dogs. No worries. You go and work out. I was very surprised. So then I continued with my workout, and when I finished, this man came and handed me my dog over, and he like, thank you very much. I was impressed by his generosity. He just like with expecting nothing in return, he just giving me this quality of time to be able to go and finish the workout with my friends. And then my dog Loro, was having fun with other dogs. So that was story number 3. Then story number 4, brothers. Okay, so 2 of my siblings, one is called Jose and one is called David, they had a conflict. Usually this kind of conflicts and family conflicts is around money or jobs, and that was the case. So Jose he was the manager of a company that they both were working, and my brother David like wanted that job. He was like, I think I'm gonna be a better manager. So I want that job. I want to try. The tension became so bad that eventually Jose gave up and like, okay, just as the job, I'm leaving, but you and I are in no good terms any longer. So that was very sad for the family, of course, but they were mature enough to not spread, this conflict that they had between the 2 of them to their wives, their children, and splitting the family into 2. They were mature enough to just keep it for themselves. So as the family could continue gathered together, as I said before, my parents had 8 children, 17 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. So the family could continue gathered together in Christmas and in important dates with having to feel this uncomfort. It was a bit uncomfortable, that's for sure, but it was not tension, okay? Many years passed by, and Jose, the one who gave up his job, had a son, and he decided to elect the other brother, David, as the grandson, the godfather of that son. And of course, the family was very surprised. So the day of the baptism in the church, David stood up in front of everybody and apologized publicly for his actions, for the pain that he has caused, for the jealousy. And of course, as you can imagine, all of the family is crying, all of the church is very moved. And it was a beautiful moment that brought a lot of joy to the whole family, to a lot of people. Just because that decision of my brother Jose to elect David, with the person with he had the personal conflict, to be the godfather of his own son. So as you can imagine, again, it was a great moment, fantastic, very emotional. So this is the compilation. I have written around 4,000 words dedicated to around 400 people, the 100 people that are my students and their parents, and compiling 4 personal stories that can be reduced to only 4 words, okay? And this is why I want you to remember 4 words. The first one, love. Love like my parents love each other after 65 years. Love yourself first. Love your partner in life. Love your family and friends. Love. Second word from the second story, live. Live adventures. Get out of your comfort zone. Say yes to meet new people. Say yes to meet new places. Say yes to challenges. Live experiences. Word number 3 from the third story, give. Your time, your attention, your knowledge, your skills. Give without expecting anything in return. Do not expect anything in return, because otherwise it's going to be a business. It's not just giving, it's an exchange. But you just give expecting nothing in return. Give. From the third story, the person who took care of my dogs without knowing him, never seen him before, never seen him afterwards, just so I could have quality training time. And then final word, forgive. Like my brother forgave my brother David, making him the godfather of his own son. Let go. Don't cling to the negative feelings. Move on. Everything will pass. Clinging to a negative experience is a waste of time and energy. Forgive. So again, these 4,000 words that I wrote for 400 people into 4 personal stories that can be combined into only 4 words are the unsecret actions for enjoying living. Love, live, give, and forgive.